Welcome to episode 6 of Unlocking Self-Storage, the podcast where we look at insights and trends within our self-storage industry. I'm Shalin Sankar, European Business Development Manager, No Key, Smart Entry at Janus International. And today, I'd like to introduce our guest, Ant from DSOC. Ant, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Fantastic to have you here. We're going to jump straight into it today, into the detail of your journey.
Okay.
Please enlighten our audience. How did you get into the self-storage industry?
I've been asked this quite a lot, and it's quite easy to answer. It's part by accident and part by design. So my whole career I've been in the security industry. So I was an engineer and installing cameras and alarms. And then in 2020, an opportunity came up with DSOC, which is a control room monitoring such systems, CCTV and alarms. And one of the shareholders of the business had contacts within self-storage.
Okay.
So quite quickly after joining DSOC, I saw the opportunity to really sell some remote monitoring solutions into that space.
Okay, thank you. Looking at security within our sector today, what sort of threats should operators be mindful of?
So I think start at the start. I think the easiest thing to address, most of the crime that goes on is exactly what you'd expect. It's out of hours, under cover of darkness. They're going to come in from the perimeter and they're going to be quite crude. So I think don't overcomplicate it until you start to see some patterns of how someone may be scoping your site out and actually trying to gain access out of hours. Then you look at your measures. I think in the 4.5 years we've been doing it so far, I think those that get it right really take the time. So really see the threat in your regional area, see the threat that's going on at the minute in the industry, and then look at the measures that you can take to kind of mitigate that. So currently, unfortunately, a lot of that is organised crime.
Wow.
So you think that it wouldn't be, you'd think that it'd be more opportunistic, but we've seen now over the 4 years that they definitely follow certain patterns, these people, and there's a lot of intelligence around it as to they're not just hitting one site and hoping that they're going to get goods. They know why they're hitting that site, and then that puts us on hyper alert as to that region is now at risk. So I'd say at the minute, if there was one emerging threat, it would be regionalised organised crime.
Wow, that sounds a bit scary, like MI6 type stuff.
Well, it's always that balance between scaremongering and helping people prevent it.
Yeah. But I mean, looking at some of the emails that I receive from the associations, it seems as though there's an increased risk, to your point. And it's good to know that there are companies such as DSOC that are trying to limit that risk rather. Yeah. So fantastic. In your expert opinion, how can a bolstered and strong security system help scale business for operators?
Well, I think the easiest first answer in terms of scale from a business perspective would be that it helps people go unmanned, so that they can use the unmanned model. Maybe it's a satellite model. The reason that it helps them do that is that CCTV, first and foremost, most of the systems are networked now. So you can see your sites remotely, whether that's back to a mobile phone, whether you were to contract with a monitoring outfit such as ourselves.
So looking at our product, No Key Smart Entry, so No Key 1 specifically, the makeup of the product is a motion sensor on the back of the smart lock itself. Talk me through if an alarm is triggered on our lock. How does that notify you, for argument's sake?
When the No Key system is installed and finished, it goes back to a controller. That controller has an amount of relays that you can then connect to the same signalling. So any of the doors are open when they shouldn't be, we'll receive a No Key alarm. We can then go onto the No Key portal, check the cameras, have a good assessment of the site to kind of see what's going on. The difference that I noticed when No Key came to market was the sensor in the lock. Because not only now did we have whether the latch was open or closed, was the movement in the unit.
Sure.
So coming from, again, arcing back to my engineer background, coming from an intruder alarm perspective, you're starting to create a bit of a confirmed situation where you've got the latch is open, but also there's been movement.
Right.
Which is good for us. It gives us more information. So yeah, that's the way that it would reach someone like us.
Sure, sure. So you've been really present in a lot of podcasts and webinars recently, and I recall you talking around AI integration into surveillance, right? Is that something that DSOC is implementing or has, or is it something down the road from a future-proofing point of view within the security surveillance sphere?
Right, okay. I mean, AI is the hot word at the minute, the hot phrase, whatever you want to badge it up as. I see it in terms of video technology, I see it as what it is, a tried and tested practice already. So I see it as video analytics. So the camera is assessing the scene, and then it uses what's called machine learning. So it will catalogue the images to say that that is a person, this is a vehicle, someone has moved in a certain area. So that has been around for a long while. Wow. To be honest, in terms of the cameras being capable of doing that, they've been doing that 10 years plus. The change and the kind of development in that space is that they're now that reliable, as in these are up at 98, 99% accuracy on defining between object classifications, that we can use it as a real measure. And then there are accreditations and compliances around it now. So it's really moving quite quickly.
That's incredible.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Our operators, I mean, it saved us a lot of time as AI. It's brilliant in the video space.
So looking back maybe 10, 15 years, you'd have an individual sat behind a screen monitoring cameras. Now you've got machine or AI that's leveraging that aspect. And only when a point is triggered, then a human would go in and intervene. Yeah. Would that be the correct assumption?
Yeah, that's pretty much the summary of it. Probably 15, 20 years ago, it was all sensors, the PIR sensor on the outside of the building, moving inwards. The cameras then did things such as line crossing and box detection. But yeah, that's the good summary of it. It's about leveraging the AI technology with video, it doesn't do the full job. And that's something that a lot of people ask me quite often. How are you scaling with all the sites that you currently monitor? Is it all AI? No. People still receive the images that we want them to receive. The person sat in the chair is still doing the monitoring. The AI is helping them get away from what I would call the white noise.
Got you. Thank you. Looking at internal and external storage, are there different security challenges in that space, or are they pretty much the same?
No, very different. Very different. External is predominantly CCTV. Again, referencing your product, Noki, that's where there is a difference with the electronic digital locks. If it's external storage drive up and it's a bespoke built unit with an alarm on the door, well then suddenly it's very similar to an internal situation, because we actually can receive an alarm from the door, where traditionally external storage is a shipping container. So the only real way we could protect that would be with cameras around the perimeter, cameras over the gate, loudspeakers to issue warnings, whereas internally we've got more things to play with. Let's say we've got the intruder alarm, we've got the unit alarms, they've got to get through a padlock, there's other members of public on site that would put them off. But the external space is moving at a rate of knots, so again that's grown much quicker in the last 2 years. So there's becoming less of a difference, but there still is that difference.
Do you have different security products for each sub-segment as such, or is it sort of like a one size fits all for self-storage?
No, we're sat in the space of receiving the events and the alarms. So what I would say is obviously the external, to protect anything externally is going to be heavy on the CCTV. Internally it's going to be the alarms. So you're going to have the intruder alarms or the access control alarms, traditionally the unit alarms, more modern now like the Noki products with the electronic digital locks. But not really from our perspective. We still see them both as whatever they present to us.
Okay.
So if anything's suspicious on the CCTV, we escalate. Anything untoward on the access control, we escalate. So we try our best to not become softened to either. They both present, I guess they present slightly different risks. With it obviously externally, the perimeter's right next to where the containers are or the drive-ups.
Right.
But ultimately, if we receive a CCTV event of them climbing over the fence, then we're going to deal with that.
And from a hardware point of view, if one of our audience members have got older CCTV systems as such, is there a dire need to upgrade, or can DSOC work with existing infrastructure?
It depends on how old we're talking, I guess. The stuff that's 10 years plus is difficult. A lot of the imagery is not digital or IP, so you can't layer analytics onto it. You can't do a lot of filtering. If it doesn't need to be brand spanking new, is what I'd say.
Right.
We can probably do something with it. But 10 years plus, and I think the advice should always be start to look at your upgrading your products. Obviously, if they're out of warranty,
Right.
that's telling you something in itself.
Sure. Would you say for external or internal for that matter, when an intruder bypasses a facility, that there's an element of fear when they are identified and they leave, or have they become more brazen to just continue their break-in?
No, it's statistically speaking, they are put off.
Okay.
If we have speakers, if we can use PA or audio to warn them, to deliver the right message at the right time, which obviously we want to get them as soon as they've got onto site. We don't want to get them, I think of it in layers. We don't want them 3 layers in before we issue a warning, because then they're thinking, is that truly a human watching me? I've been here 15 minutes before I've had a warning. But statistically speaking, if we can get the audio message to them, they do leave. There are some that are brazen. There's no getting away from that. And just all you can really do is, given all the tech that's available and all the kind of skills with the operator, do the best you can. Try get that call to the guard response or to the police as soon as you can. Because as soon as they see that, yeah, they may have got away with it on that job, but it will put them off from the next.
Got you. With the increased risk of security today, how do you see the sector transforming over the next 5 years?
It will need to keep transforming. It will need to keep evolving.
Tell me, talking about human intervention, does your support team work around the clock or only within a specified time?
No, we're 24/7, 365. So the control room is staffed with 4 teams that constantly rotate on shift patterns, and then supported by the management team. Most of the management team are office hours, but we do have a team leader on every single shift.
Got you. So we generally end our podcasts with a little quirky, funny end question, right? So our marketing team have got a bunch of questions in this little box down here.
Right.
I'm going to whip it out, and you just choose the most apt option and just hand it over to me.
This feels risky.
And then we can talk it through. It's completely PG for those out there. Okay.
Do you want the question?
Yeah. Okay. So, which would you choose? To have 4 arms and 2 legs, or to have 2 arms and 4 legs, and why?
It's a bit weird, isn't it? I'll go for 4 arms. And why? I'm a snooker player, so I play snooker and a bit of darts. So I can do that and still be on my phone. But that is a weird question. Just imagining 4 legs now.
It could be a new take on Spider-Man and the DSOC development.
Response cards catching. Operators with more hands to do more jobs. I like it.
No, but Ant, we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you very much, and hoping to catch up with you again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks my buddy. Take care. All the
Thank
best.
you.
Cheers.